Hi, my name is Adam and I'm going to show you how to solder up your little Arduino Nano board. First things first, you'll need your little Arduino Nano board and it comes in a little sealed bag like this. Don't open it until you're ready to actually perform this bit of work here. We'll also need our breadboard, which will be provided to you, and we'll need some solder. Inside this bag, what you'll find is when you open it, a set of header pins that are pre-cut to the right length, two of these longer ones, and one here that is a 2x3. Now we don't need that 2x3, so we can leave that aside for now. These other two strips, what we're going to do is we're going to solder them into our Arduino. And the way that we're going to do that is they're going to solder in from the bottom side of the Arduino, so that's with our USB connector on the top. And we're going to have one on either side, so we're just going to align that in there now. So you'll notice that we've got our little RS-232 chip on the bottom there to USB. On the top here we've got our USB port and our little Arduino microcontroller. Okay, so to get these pins nice and straight, because what usually happens is when you start to solder them, they'll either splay out or they'll come in too far like that, and then we won't be able to plug it into the board. So an easy way to make sure that they stay nice and parallel is to actually just plug this into the board. So find a spot on your board, plug it in, and it does take a little bit of pressure to push it in, but once it's in, what you'll even notice is I can even remove the board off the top there. So I'll just put that back on there. And you'll notice though that all the pins are all pushed in, they're all at the same height. My board is sitting nice and flush and parallel to the board. When I'm referring to the board, I was referring to the breadboard which is below, which is sometimes called white chocolate. Now I'm going to grab my iron and I'm going to give it a clean. Now you might actually see there that the iron is not that nice and shiny, so give it a good clean on the sponge, nice and quick wiping it on the sponge. If you've got the nice little curly brass cleaner, go and use that. Okay, so give it a nice clean. Now remember, this solder is very hot when it's melted and it will burn you, so be very careful. Make sure you're wearing your PPE before attempting this step. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our soldering iron on the joint, which is one pin, and we're going to let it heat up, add some solder, wait a little while, and then remove. And that's one pin done. So now what we'll do is we'll do the rest of them. So what you'll notice here is that I'm leaving my soldering iron on the joint and letting that solder just relax and form a nice little volcano. At the moment my iron is getting a little bit dirty, so I'm just going to give it a clean now. You'll find that you'll be able to, as you get better and better at soldering, you'll be able to do more solder joints before having to clean your iron. For most people, when they start soldering though, they'll need to clean their iron every single joint before every joint. We're just waiting for that solder to relax and make a nice volcano joint around that pin. Almost there, almost done one side. I'm just going to reheat that last one up a bit. There we go. And now we'll turn our board around and we'll do the other side. Almost finished. Need to clean my iron again. Now, if the solder joints where the pads are, if they're a bit dirty, when you go to make a solder joint, sometimes you've got to add a little extra solder there and then wipe it away with your iron, which is what I'm doing here with this last pin. What's happened there is that there's a bit of corrosion that's actually on the pad that I'm trying to solder to, and it takes more flux. Flux is the cleaning agent that's inside the solder, and it takes more flux. That's what's producing the smoke to actually clean the pad. And I'm actually, there we go. We've got a second one that took a little bit more work there as well. So what you'll tend to find is during manufacture, that's probably where someone's picked up the board or where I've handled it beforehand. So just give it a good clean. Sometimes adding a little extra solder and using the iron to pull the solder away. Okay, so as the iron is hotter than the item that you're soldering, what ends up happening is you end up getting a wicking effect occurring. So the wicking is you'll have your solder actually pull up onto the iron, and so you can use it to remove excess solder. Let me clean that iron again. Go in there. We're just finishing up our last few. We're almost done. There we go, and we're all done. Okay, now you've finished soldering up your Arduino, and you need to remove it from the board. When you do this, you have to be very, very careful. You need to lever it out one side, then the other side, and you keep on levering it as it just comes out a little bit, and you'll notice it's just rocking, and then out we come. And the idea is to make sure that we don't bend any of these pins when it comes out. Okay. Now that that's done, we can plug it into the computer, and we can start programming it.